Good morning, students. In the previous class we saw in the history that making of regional cultures. Now we are going to see about the 18th century political formations. In that we have already seen that which factors led the decline of the Mughal Empire after Aurangzeb. Now we are going to see about the how did Sikhs seek independence. How did Sikhs seek independence? Eighteenth century political formation. In that we have already saw that which factors led to the decline of the Mughal Empire after the death of Aurangzeb. Now we are going to see about the how did Sikhs seek independence. The Sikhs were the followers of Guru Nanak and emerged an important power in the Punjab region of Indian subcontinent in 1699 century. Here Guru Gobind Singh instituted the Khalsa and organized the Sikhs into the political community, that is Guru Nanak. (1699 century). After that, Guru Gobind Singh instituted Khalsa. And organized Sikh political community. After the formation of Khalsa, there was a tremendous increase in the political and military power of Sikhs. After the formation of Khalsa, there is a tremendous increase in political power and also in administration and military. Guru Gobind Singh, inspired by the Khalsa and with the defeat that destiny was to rule, Raj Karega Khalsa. Then under his leadership, the Sikhs fought several battles against the Rajput and Mughal rulers. Guru Gobind Singh, under Guru Gobind Singh, Sikhs fought several battles against Rajput and Mughal empires, Mughal rulers. Guru Gobind Singh was the 10th Guru of the Sikhs. Guru Gobind Singh was the 10th Guru of the Sikhs. After his death in 1708 century, the Khalsa rose in revolt against the Mughal authority under the leadership of Banda Bahadur. The Khalsa rose in revolt after the death of Guru Gobind Singh in 1708 century. The Khalsa rose in revolt against the Mughal authority under the leadership of Banda Bahadur. Then the Sikhs declared their sovereign rule by striking coins in the name of Guru Nanak and Guru Gobind Singh and established their administration between Satluj and the Jamuna rivers and established their own administration between Satluj and Jamuna rivers. Banda Bahadur was captured and put to death in 16th century. Banda Bahadur was captured and put to death in 16th century by the Mughals in order of the Mughal, that is Farrukh Siyar. First, Guru Nanak is the leader for the Sikhs in 1699 century. After that, Guru Gobind Singh also the leader for the Sikh people, and he administered Khalsa. And Guru Gobind Singh is the 10th Guru of the Sikhs. And after the death of 1708 century, Guru Gobind Singh. After that, Guru Gobind Singh against the Rajput and Mughal rulers also. Khalsa is after the administration of Khalsa, there is a tremendous increase in the political power and military power for the Sikh people. Then they also captured the Satluj, and their administration is between the Satluj and the Jamuna river. And Banda Bahadur also defeated by the Mughals in 16th century by Farrukh Siyar. In the 18th century, the Sikhs organized themselves into a number of military bands called Jathas. Military bands. Their combined army was called Dal Khalsa. Combined army was called Dal Khalsa. Dal Khalsa is met twice a year at Amritsar at the time of Baisakhi and Diwali. Dal Khalsa met twice a year. At Amritsar at the time of Baisakhi and Diwali. To take collective decisions called Guru Mata. To take collective decisions. Guru Mata. The Dal Khalsa provided protection to the peasants and the payment of the tax 20% of the produce. They protected peasants. Dal Khalsa protected peasants for their taxes up to 20% of their productions. Up to 20% for their productions. This system is called Rakhi. Production of peasants is called rocky. The systems is called rocky. The word rocky literally means protection. It means protection. Dalgalsa, it means to protect the peasants. They started Dalgalsa, and the protected peasants called rocky. Rocky means protection. Then one of the Sikh rulers, Maharaja Ranjit Singh, reunited these missiles and established his capital at Lahore in 1799 century. How did the Marathas carve out their independent kingdom? How did Marathas carve out their independent kingdom? In the medieval of the 17th century, Shivaji founded the powerful Maratha kingdom with the support of powerful warrior families known as Deshmukhs. Shivaji founded Deshmukh It is a powerful warriors family. It is known as Deshmukh. He formed a strong army with the help of peasants pastoralists called Kanbis. Formed peasants pastoralists. Called Kanbis, who are very swift and active. That peasants are very swift and active. Then after Shivaji's death, the Maratha kingdom was ruled by family of Chitpavan Brahmanas. After Shivaji, the Maratha was ruled by Brahmanas, that is Chitpavan Brahmanas. They served Shivaji's successors as Peshwas or principal ministers. Pune became the seat of the authority of Maratha kingdom. Then Marathas developed a very successful military organization also. In that there are some strategies for their militaries. First one is to avoid confrontation. In Marathas military strategies. First one, to avoid confrontation with Mughals and kept away from the fortified areas of the Mughals. Avoid confrontations with Mughals. And kept away from the fortified areas of the Mughals. Next one is, this is the first strategy that is followed by the Marathas. Next one, they carried out sudden raids on the Mughal cities. They carried out sudden raids. in the Mughal cities. Third one is they fought with Mughal armies where the supply lines and reinforcements could be easily cut. They fought with the Mughal armies. They fought with the Mughal armies in those areas where their supply lines and reinforcements could be easily cut. Between 17 and 20 and 1761 centuries, the Maratha annexed many other areas and they gradually became free from the control of the Mughal Empire. They annexed Malwa and Gujarat from the Mughals in 1720s. By the 1730s, the Maratha king became the overlord of the Deccan Peninsula and thus got the right to collect taxes from the people. They levied two types of taxes. Marathas levied two types of taxes for the people. That is, one is Chap. One is Chap and the second one is Sardeshmukhi. Sardeshmukhi. Chap means was 1/4 of the land revenue. 1/4 of the land revenue. And it was collected by the Marathas. Marathas taxes is of two types. One is Chap, it was 1/4 of the land revenue. Then Sardeshmukhi means it was an additional tax. It is an additional tax of 9 to 10% of the land revenue that was paid to the head revenue collector in the Deccan. And it was paid to the head revenue collector in the Deccan. 9 to 10% of the land revenue. Then after raiding Delhi in 1737 century, the Marathas rapidly expanded to the territories towards Rajasthan and Punjab in the north and Bengal and Orissa in the east. After the 1737 century, Marathas moved to expanded to Rajasthan and Punjab in the north and Bengal and Orissa in the east. And the Carnatic region or coastal in Tamil Nadu. And the states of Mysore, Hyderabad in the south. Shivaji founded the Deshmukh, and the Deshmukh means it is the powerful warriors of the family, and it was founded by the Shivaji. He is the Maratha ruler. Then peasants pastoralize, that is known as Kanbis. After Shivaji, Chitpavan Brahmana ruled the Marathas, and Marathas military strategies is first one is to avoid confrontation with Mughals. Second one is sudden raids in the Mughal cities. Then they fought with the Mughal armies. Then there is two types of taxes that is collected from the people by the Marathas. First one is Char, and it is the one fourth of the land revenue of the peasants. Then second one is Sardeshmukhi. It is the additional tax for the people, and it is 9 to 10% of the land revenue. Then after 1737 century, Marathas expanded to Rajasthan and Punjab in the north, and Bengal and Orissa in the east, and Carnatic region or coastal in Tamil Nadu, Mysore and Hyderabad in the south. Then the Marathas developed a strong administrative system. The assessment of revenue was made after studying the local conditions of the different areas. The Marathas encouraged agriculture and revived trade. The revenue thus generated helped the Maratha chiefs or Sardars like Scindia of Gwalior, Gaikwad of Baroda, and Bhonsle of Nagpur to raise powerful armies. Ujjain and Indore became the important cultural and commercial centers. Marathas encouraged agriculture and trade, and revenue was generated by the Marathas chiefs or Sardars like Scindia of Gwalior, Gaikwad of Baroda, and Bhonsle of Nagpur, to raise the powerful armies. Then Ujjain and Indore become the important cultural and commercial centers. The patronage of Sindha and Holkar. Ujjain and Indore, cultural and commercial centers of Marathas. Under Maratha control, new trade routes emerged in the areas. Pune became the new center for trading. Pune, new central trading, new trading center for silk produced in Chanderi region. Chanderi region. The cities of Pune, Nagpur, Lucknow and Allahabad were connected to the trade link between Agra and Surat. After that, Jats. How did Jats establish an autonomous state? How did Jats establish an autonomous state? Jats means, it denotes a jadi, caste or a type of people. Then Jat lived in the rural areas of in Haryana. They lived in Haryana, Punjab, West Bengal, western regions of Ganga and Yamuna. Yamuna and eastern Rajputana. They became the political important during the 17th and 18th centuries. Led by Sharaman, they brought territory situated to the west of the city of Delhi under their control. By the 1680s, they had taken control over Delhi and Agra. Jats taken over the control over Delhi and Agra in 1680s. The Jats were wealthy cultivators. They were wealthy cultivators. Panipat and Balabar became important trading centers of their regions. Panipat and Ballabgarh, important trading centers. In their regions. Under the leadership of Surajmal, Bharatpur emerged as a strong kingdom of the Jats. In 1739 century, Nadir Shah of Iran attacked Delhi. Surajmal gave refuge to many important persons of Delhi at Bharatpur. Surajmal's son Jawahar Singh raised a strong army consisting of Maratha and Sikh troops to fight the Mughals. 1739 century, Nadir Shah attacked the Jats. Here Surajmal's sons Jawahar Singh raised a strong army consisting of Maratha and Sikhs troops to fight against Mughals. Maratha and Sikh troops to fight against Mughals. Building constructed by the Jats are very noteworthy. Then the Bharatpur was first built in the traditional style. Then the Jats built a garden palace similar in the style of the Mughal, that is Ambir and Agra. Then the architectural forms and designs of the Jats resembles to and associated with the Shah Jahan's buildings. Shah Jahan's architecture. Here Jats it is a type of tribe or Jadis. Then they are lived in Haryana, Punjab and west regions of Ganga and Yamuna, and they against with Delhi and Agra. They fought with Delhi and Agra in 1680s, and they are the cultivators. Jats peoples are very interested in cultivators, and the Panipat and Balgapur is the important trading centers for the Jats people. 1739 century, Nadir Shah attacked Jats community, and Jawahar Singh, the son of Surajmal, attacked against Nadir Shah with the help of Maratha and Sikh troops in 1739. Okay students, thank you students.